America's tits! What the Kaled is this game? My god! Here's what I can tell you about Elden Ring. At about 160-ish hours into the game, I finally decided to go ahead and beat the Elden Beast and roll the credits on the game. I'd already beaten what I had assumed was most of the bosses. I beat, like, Melania and all the hard shit, the hidden bosses, as far as I knew. And like I said, 160-ish hours in, I went ahead and rolled the credits. I'm still in playthrough 1, because after rolling those credits, I decided to go ahead and clean up anything I could clean up, grab any walking mausoleums, any NPCs, the usual end of the game, post end game, pre next journey cleanup. And I'm now at about 180 hours. I'm still on playthrough 1, and every time I sit down and play for a little while, I find 10 more bosses I haven't beat or discovered before. I find 5 new areas I didn't know about, and this is every time I sit down. I'm like, oh wait, I didn't go over here, and then suddenly there's 8 caves. I start playing with a buddy, and he's like, hey, can you help me through this spot? I'm like, sure, tell me the name of the grace. I don't have that grace. Oh, I never went here before. I'm just doing stuff around the house, and my wife's like, hey, do you mind if I run around on your character for a while? Sure, why not? I don't have anything to lose. She finds 5 new fucking areas. I'm still finding bosses and areas every time I sit down and play this game. I beat the game like 18 hours ago, and I'm still finding areas and bosses that I had yet to reach. Another interesting fact. I rolled the credits on the game, and then I discovered that you had to activate the Great Runes by following the instructions on the Great Rune and going to the place and then solving a little puzzle for the Divine Tower and then activating the Great Rune. I beat the game and never used one of the best aspects of the game that there is, which is the rune buffs you can get. I have all the runes. Got them. Almost all of them, I assume. I have like 6 of them. And never used them. So I'm about to start my new playthrough, where I will lose all of those runes. And I didn't use them until after I beat the game. This game is so freaking huge. It's amazing. Like, I don't understand how it's so, like, simultaneously overwhelming, yet at the same time it can feel kind of small sometimes. Like, you feel like you're like, oh, you can speed run it in 20 minutes. Oh, you can, I beat my playthrough in 2 hours. But, like, I've been delving into this game, and I'm still finding new stuff every time I play. It's made me afraid to go to my next playthrough just because I want to make sure I can get the most out of the first playthrough. And some people don't play that way, and that's fine. I'm different that way. I like to take my time, savor everything I can get before I move on to the next playthrough. And yeah, 170 plus hours, and I'm still on playthrough 1, finding new shit. I beat the game, but I'm still finding new things. Obviously, there's a bunch of quest lines that are broken or no longer able to complete until I start the next playthrough. But for the most part, like, I've gotten almost everything done that I thought I could get done in one playthrough. In fact, I think there's definitely a way to play through and maximize your playthrough. But yeah, that's where Elden Ring is right now, and it's crazy. I know it's not for everyone, and not everyone will have the same experience. Some people will just be happy with their speed running through it and not experiencing everything. But for those of us who are like into it, oh my goodness, so much. Like, again, I'm blown away every time I sit down and I'm like, alright, I'll play a little bit more before I start a new playthrough. And then, like I said, 10 bosses. I'm not joking. Every time, like 10 new bosses. I'm like, are you kidding me? I thought I killed everything. So that's Elden Ring. That's yeah. I this video is really just me being in awe of the sheer scope of the game. But also I have a few tips. Since like I said, I went through the whole freaking game without even using the Great Runes. One of my first tips would be like, hey, if you haven't used your Great Runes or you have them and you don't realize how to activate them, you have to get the Great Rune. You have to read the Great Rune. The Great Rune says like, oh, blah blah blah, at the Divine Tower in X location. You go to that location, you find access to the Divine Tower, you make your way up to the top of the Divine Tower, and if you have the rune associated with that Divine Tower, then it will be there at the top. You go and you don't activate it, you're really just restoring it. And then once you restore it, you can then go to a grace and you can set that Great Rune to be in your active Great Rune slots. Oh, but wait, it's not done yet. Now, to actually use the Great Rune that you've now gone through all these steps to get into the Great Rune slot, which you will see the symbol for the Great Rune right next to your health, stamina, and FP bars. And to actually activate that Great Rune once you have gotten it to that status, you need to use a rune arc, the crescent-shaped little things that you pick up from doing PvP or PvE or certain areas and certain, you find them randomly. Those activate the Great Runes that you have in your active Great Rune slot. So, all that said, that's why I never did it, because I didn't realize there were so many steps involved, and I was always so sidetracked. So, first things first, Great Runes, learn about them, figure out how to get them, activate them, use them. They're really freaking great. But obviously, you don't need them, because I beat the whole damn game without them. The other thing, the map. One of the reasons I keep finding new areas and discovering things I didn't know about before is because I've been really concentrating on looking at the map. And the map has some really great details in it that really help you navigate, especially when it comes to secret areas and things that there are areas where it looks like you may have gone through it and got everything, but you definitely didn't. And most of the things are actually on the map, from caves and catacombs to secret pathways to get to other places. It's on the map. Caves show up as these dark spots with a glowing ring around them. That most of mine are going to be covered by the emblem, because once you discover a place, the emblem for the named place shows up over it. But drawn on the map, there are caves, and there are dark spots with a glowing, like I said, a glowing rim around the dark spot. The Everjails, they show up as the circles. Usually it's concentric circles. There are a few that are different looking. The Divine Towers all look the same. And then there are areas you can't access, but you can see them. And the tombstones that show up on the cliff sides, those tombstones are also drawn on the map. So if you're zoomed in on an area and you're trying to find access to an area, you can look around and you can see if there are tombstones around to use to make your way to another area, which most of the time that's the case. The only thing I have not seen drawn on the map are the jump pads, like the wind tunnel jump pads for the horse. But pretty much, right there is some tombstones, the little white teeth looking things. You see those on the map, that's a way to get up or down to a new place that perhaps you haven't actually accessed before. And all the ruins, everything's drawn, so if you see something that looks like it's a crumbled building, it probably is ruins, and you should go look at it, and it's probably a ruin or a catacomb or some other thing there that is worth checking out. So really investigate the map. If you think you haven't been somewhere, or you see an island like that one, there are ways to get to them, and you just got to find them. Some of them are more obvious than others. And then, like I said, I beat the game. I'm over 170 hours in, and I'm still looking at places on the map where I thought I've been, and I go check them out, and it turns out there's all kinds of shit there that I didn't get. So again, scope of the game is huge, and even areas that you've been through a million times. Even Limgrave, where you know you spent most of the beginning of the game, unless you ran past all that. Even Limgrave, I'm still finding areas that I missed. Like, there's still little pockets here and there. So, if you think you've done everything there is to do, you definitely haven't. And if you think that everybody who's making videos on Elden Ring has exposed everything there is in the game, they have not yet. Oh, see that right there? That little, you can kind of see it next to the symbol. There's a dark spot under that church and a ring around it. That's the cave symbols. Once you notice one, you'll realize what they look like, and they're easy to spot. But yeah, the map is actually really detailed and worth checking out in detail if you are looking for more areas. Otherwise, like that's what the scope, that's what the point of this video is. It's just like, you know, I don't know where you guys are at if you're playing Elden Ring still, but like, I'm still in my first playthrough and I've got so much more to go. I plan on getting the platinum in this game, but like, that requires a couple more endings, which require a couple more playthroughs. But I want to make sure I get everything out of each playthrough, so that's what I'm working towards now. And we'll see if I ever hit playthrough 2 before I hit 200 hours. Huh? I don't know. But that's Elden Ring. There are so many things to discover. There are so many things that are not mentioned in videos, or you have to watch 8 different people's videos and you'll get, you know, put together the pieces to get like, oh, you know, here's a better way to go about doing this or that, or whatever the case is. But there's still so much. Again, I don't make a lot of videos regarding like detailed builds or like how to beat bosses or anything, because again, that stuff's always changing. They just put out patch 1.04 today, and that nerfed a bunch of stuff and buffed a bunch of stuff, which will change everybody up a little bit. So, you know, there's no point to me in making videos about like how you should play this game or what you should do, when at any time that could be changed with an update and then it becomes irrelevant. So play the game however you want. As always, have fun, play for fashion, play for style, play for, you know, maximize, you know, fly spell caster. I don't know what you want, but you know, that's the point. Play how you want. My outfit does not always best represent my build, but I play for, you know, what I think looks good or what I feel at the moment, and that's how I think everybody should be. The bleed builds are still way overpowered. If you are any kind of faith lightning build, they're overpowered still. So, you know, they're not changing up too much. They're just making a few little balance adjustments. Otherwise, keep on playing, keep killing bosses. If you know about any super duper secrets, drop them in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. Check out some of my other stuff. Click that like button, click that subscribe button, you know, the things that YouTubers say. Otherwise, as always, you know I love you, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye! Subscribe, bitch.